So I'll first introduce myself. So I am Swayangjit. I am leading the Sunbird Mobile team. So I will first start with the mobile app repo. So so in mobile app, actually, what tech stack we're using. So right now we're using Ionic, Angular, and then after that there are some plugins which are required to connect with the native functionalities, like native device functionalities. So where, because there are some functionalities which so we just show it here. Do we have any
Paper I will not have.
No, my question is there.
Just flip it up. No?
Flip it to use it. Just see is there any errors? Just whiteboard can use it.
I think you have to start from starting.
Should be.
It is not recorded. The voice is not recorded.
So again, introduction is fine, right? Or start. Okay. Yeah. So I will start off with the Sunbird Mobile App repo. So this is the repo which all the APK and so Android application and iOS application is being generated from. So here, what tech stack we are using Ionic, Angular. So the framework that we are using, so we are building a hybrid application. So it's not pure native application. So we are building hybrid application, and hybrid applications are mainly of like there is a web-based application, web view-based application, which will connect to the device, functionalities like camera or database or something like that. Because we cannot directly connect to the device functionalities. That's why we'll have to use some plugins and all, which they will connect to it. So the UI layer is so. So the UI layer is Ionic and Angular. So Ionic and Angular is completely JavaScript or TypeScript, and at the end it will convert it into JavaScript itself. So once they are converted into JavaScript, so without using any device functionality, there is no app. So how they will connect? How? Because JavaScript cannot connect to the Android or iOS devices. So in between there are plugins. So first they will connect to plugins, and plugins will connect to Android or iOS, and they will return whatever responsive device specific functionality, they will return it. So to start off with, how, like what are the technology, tech stack and tools that are required to set up the Sunbird mobile app. So these are the basic things, like what you are saying, basic Node package is required, Node, NPM, and Cordova that I already told, which is required to connect with the device functionalities. Ionic is for our UI framework which we are using it, and Java and Gradle, which is completely only for Android, because these things anyhow specific versions which we have mentioned it, so those versions should be installed properly so that it will work smoothly, it will work. And Cocoa Pods is for iOS application. So the single code base, so the single code base handles, it generates both iOS and Android app. So there are no specific like two repos and nothing is there. So a single code base will generate iOS and Android application. Only the build script will change. Yeah. So so I will not go into that what all steps are required, and the basic steps are how to install Java, how to install Gradle. They are the basic steps that is required. So once, because whenever you take a clone of this repo, so whenever you are trying to build it, so you will have like whichever version that you require. Suppose right now the production version is I think 5.1.0. So once you take a clone of it, so there are few configurations that are required. So once if those configurations are not ready, you cannot actually launch the app itself. So those configurations, I will give basic information about those configurations. Yep. So this is the main file which keeps all the properties file, like whatever properties required to launch one mobile app, and how you can configure Sunbird mobile app into a separate app itself. Suppose you guys are building this app, so the code base will be same because Sunbird is not going to change. So only thing that will change is because for Sunbird we have specific configurations. For Diksha you guys will have a specific separate configuration yourself. So this is the file, Sunbird properties file, which will change the complete app. So you can see it. So these are the properties file. I will show it where the files are. So this property file, so once you clone the project, so you will not, because all the properties file contains all this properties file contains all I think sensitive information. We cannot push those to GitHub. So once if we'll see there, so the properties file is located in here in build config folder. The reason you will see there is no properties file here. So we have put one property sample file. So here you will just find some description like these are the properties file required. So I will explain each of those properties. So I will show one example. So in the properties file you can see there are multiple variants of it. I think people which I have interacted earlier, so they are confused between why there are multiple properties like dev, staging and production. So the reason for it is that right now the mobile app is that in a single app itself we are supporting multiple instances, like we have dev instance, we have staging instance, we don't have production instance, but for Diksha, if you will say, you guys will have a production instance itself. So for dev instance you will have a separate set of properties, for staging instance you will have a separate set of properties, and for production you will have separate set of properties itself. And if you want a separate, I think you will have a pre-prod instance itself. So you will have to put a separate section where it will have pre-prod properties itself. So I will show how Android mobile app reads all those properties. So we have this build extractor Gradle file. So this is a Gradle file which is required whenever the Android mobile app is compiled and the APK is created. So this build extractor Gradle file is required. So in Android there is a concept called product flavors. So from a single app itself you can generate so single code base, you can generate multiple variants of the like APK. So suppose we have like 2 dev and staging instances. So whenever you build the code, it will generate both dev and staging APK itself. So here you will see in the product flavor itself, in the build extras which is available in build config folder, you can find it here. So the build extras will have like separate code blocks. So if you will see, this is dev, this is staging, this is production. So each will have its separate configurations itself. So we'll start with I think any of dev is not there, so start with staging thing. So there are multiple properties. So whatever properties are there, those are those are the properties which is required to launch the application and to use it smoothly. So the complete explanation of the all the properties file is available here. So here you can see I have given it as a, because there you were saying this dev underscore properties. So if we'll see, the properties file contains it is starting with dev underscore, then staging underscore, then production underscore, you can see it. But while explaining it here, so what I will do, I am just removing that dev underscore and staging underscore thing, because all those are like instance specific. So dev is specific to dev environment and staging is separate to staging environment. So the properties file is being read here. So here if you will see in the staging instances, I am only reading the stage underscore all the properties, all the staging things I am reading it. Staging underscore properties, staging underscore properties, all the staging URLs. And if you will see in I cannot show it. Is it fine? Yep. So here I will be like reading all the staging properties in the staging block itself, and for dev I will be reading all the dev specific properties. Here you can see it. So here the explanation is there for all the properties. So whatever properties are required, so the explanation is there. So you can, I think the link is already there. So I will explain few of those things. So we will start from the app name. I think app name, it is basically the name of the app, what is required for like whatever name of the app that you want to give. For us it is Sunbird, and for Diksha it will be Diksha or anything. Then the version code is required for the code that is required, because for Play Store whenever uploading the code is required to upload it. App ID, you will have to give some package ID. And base URL is the main thing. If you will see, the base URL actually contains the URL where all the APIs will be used. So for here in the dev environment, you can see the staging environment. The property is staging.sunbirded.org. So this is the base URL where you are going to hit all the APIs. So this is being used, I think Sunbird SDK, that I will explain later. So this base URL is being used by Sunbird SDK to hit all the APIs. Then producer ID. So producer ID basically the unique ID that is required for this is required for telemetry itself. And the main thing that is required for the out of all these things, so this is mobile app key and mobile app secret. So these are the two things that is because of these two property we cannot push our properties file to the GitHub, because these are the two keys using which we will be accessing all the APIs. So where you will get those APIs, because I have been asked question that ideally where you will get those these two files. So whenever one instance is onboarded, suppose a new instance has been onboarded. So in the whenever that specific instance is onboarded, two keys will be one mobile app secret and mobile app key that will be generated in the Jenkins. So you'll have to ask the DevOps team. So they will provide you that those two properties. So once you get those two properties, so there is a script available here. Yeah, so that is it. So you can use anything. So that is the standard that we have given. So you can use anything that.
So you can create, the developers can create their own.
Yes, you can use it.
And that doesn't make any difference in the
No,
side
nothing.
while deploying.
Yes. So here you can see there is a script written. So the script, because here you can see there is a two things that is required. So mobile admin key and mobile admin secret. So these are the two things that DevOps team will provide you. So once you have those two keys, just run this script. So it will give you a mobile app key and mobile app secret, which you will have to use it here.
As Diksha mobile app is already here in App Store or Play Store.
Huh.
So the mobile key used at that time, is
Yeah.
it compulsory for us to use the same mobile key in secret?
Yes, so you can change it. Suppose if you want to change it, then because that key will be alive.
Yes.
So suppose you want to change it
Yes.
and you want to like publish a new app, because once you are changing
It
it,
will be a new app, na?
that will be a new app itself.
Not the updated version of
No,
the same app.
no. So you will have to, because these properties file, those have been embedded in the app itself. So if you are changing it and you want to publish it, you will have to generate a new one and publish a new app
And
itself.
if we want to upgrade the same version, we have to use the same API key. And
Yeah. So here itself you will be like, it will generate you the mobile app key and secret. And yep. So these are the two things, which is for API consumption, this is like compulsory. Without this, you cannot use the Sunbird APIs in mobile app. So there are a few other properties also, which you can go through it and have a look at it. Like those are the basic things, like which is required to consume the APIs, and there are some functionalities which Sunbird app uses. Apart from that, you will have to use Google service.json file, because if you will not include it, it will throw one exception that a Google service.json file is required. So this file is required for Firebase, library. So Firebase library is used for sending any notification or any cloud messaging. We'll have to send some notification to specific devices and all. We need this file. So this is like compile time. This is compulsory. Without this, the Sunbird mobile app code will not compile. So this, I think, to generate this file, I think this is a pretty much simple procedure. This is available in the Google support page, which I have given the link here. So you can generate it, and the only the key thing to notice is here. So the app ID. So the app IDs you will have to, this app ID should be same as the whatever is your package ID. Without that, it will not work, because whatever functionality it will not compile itself. So this is a pretty much simple like procedure to generate the Google service.json files. So once you have these properties file set, you can put it in the build config folder, because in the build config folder you will have a sample file here, because this
we are not putting it on config. I mean, is it not required?
Yeah, it's there, no.
Config file, config.xml.
No, config.xml is part of like Ionic.
And yes, I'm
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah. So
Generally, we used to, in any Ionic project, we used to, create the app ID there only.
so actually we are not using that there itself. We are directly using Android functionality to generate that app ID.
That is for Android app.
Yeah, for Android app, and for iOS we are maintaining the config.xml.
That's
Yeah.
I mean, we can't use for iOS, we can't use the configuration.
iOS the configuration is there, but the team has, because previously there were some issues, because every time, because iOS they don't have any multi product flavor concept, because we have multi flavor concept itself, like dev, staging and all these things. So because every time they build it, they will have to create their own, they will have to change the ID and they will have to build it. So that's why they are not following iOS team is not following the basic this config.xml, and we'll have to anyhow, because we have this build extractor Gradle.
Actually, for this issue, I am not able to, maintain a same code base for iOS and Android. I mean, while I'm working on it,
Okay.
that is the thing. Every time I have to, change the config file, then only I am able
Okay.
to build. So that.
Yeah, I think this is a valid question. You can put it in our forum itself. We'll try to resolve it itself. I think that's a valid question. Yep. Okay. Where are we? So these files, and once the properties file is here, and you have put the Google service.json file, so it will build the mobile app code itself. So once the mobile app is set, so there, like I think Rajiv or Rajesh are already mentioned the forms. So we are also using the forms to configure the mobile app, the complete mobile app, because the complete Sunbird platform uses the form services extensively to make the UI dynamic, make the like suppose in UI you want to change the text like dynamical without updating the app. So that's why the form, there are lots of forms are there which we are using, which to customize the UI or to make the UI dynamic itself. So there are few forms which are required. Without those forms, the mobile app itself, it will break at some point of time. So those are the two forms which are required. Once those two forms are set, then other forms you can make like upload it later. That you can change it later itself.
Two forms as in?
Yeah. So that I will tell you that. So I think Rajiv has explained the like mandatory and optional concept, those things. So that mandatory is for mobile app. There are two forms which is mandatory, and other apps are other forms are optional. So
I think you may have to zoom it again.
yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah. So the two forms are, you can see it, to configure the user type selection, because once you launch the app, so we are asking for the user type selection, where the user will select the persona, what kind of persona, what he wants to choose. So I think you might have been aware of this UI. So you might have seen that this UI, that what is the persona of that specific user, whether the user wants to join as a teacher or whether the user wants to join as a student or anything. So this and whether the user wants to join as a parent, and this STN official, and this is a separate workflow. I think this is for managed learn use case, and I think that Kiran from managed learn team, he will explain all these things. What is the managed learn use case? So they will start, because once you click on the STN official, because the head teacher and official, a separate workflow starts, because that code base is already like there in our app itself, but the workflow is completely different. So this is one form. So I can show basic things. So here you can see in that specific form itself. So we are providing like complete what will be the label of that. So suppose you will see, you can see of this this teacher. Suppose there is some request comes from the production that you want to change this teacher label to something else, because there are lots of requests that comes from the production that you will have to change these labels. So if you want to change it, so here we are providing the label. So here it is provided in all the languages. So whatever language, because you will have to, this is a stringified JSON, that you can update all that JSON itself in all the languages.
We can do that from the backend side, because data is coming from API.
Yeah, but that because what mobile app uses, because it uses multiple languages. Okay, so you will have to provide all the possibilities, but because right now I think whatever supported languages are there, you will have to provide all those languages, and mobile app will interpret whatever language is selected, it will interpret and then translate. Because basic translations are there, like whatever static UI translator there, those are available as basic translate. We have en.json, as.json, all these things, but whichever is dynamic. Because if suppose there is some mistake in the language, because language mistake is very costly. If you were meant to say something, but it meant something else. So that's why we have made it like complete dynamic, so that if there is some mistake, you can change it immediately. So translations are there. Image you can, because these images we are providing directly statically in the source code itself. Yeah, resources folder we are providing it. And here we are providing some attributes, like for this specific persona, because we are saying this word persona is that because the user will select that specific role. We are terming it as persona only. So for that specific persona, what are the attributes are there? Which all attributes are mandatory and which all attributes are optional? Because while selecting the, I will show you that. Yeah. So while here you can see these are the board. This is the for the Diksha framework. So where Diksha app itself, where we are asking the user to select the board medium grade. So if there is some requirement comes up that teacher cannot select any class, because ideally there is teachers should not select any class or something. So in the form API itself, if you don't want to do that, so here you will have to just remove this. Not this one. Whatever mandatory attributes are there, you will have to just remove this grade level, so that whenever they are asking for the framework details and all, it will ask only board and medium, and you can put it in optional or you can remove it. So similarly, this is for student and for ST and officials, and for parent and anything else. So here all the configuration is exactly same, and the only extra configuration is there. So here actually this we are not using it. So here you can see for ST and officials, mandatory is board, because for ST and officials we are not asking for any medium or class levels itself. So the mandatory field is board. So there once you select ST and official, it will only ask you board, and it will move ahead, because if you ask select teacher and all, the compulsory fields are teachers, board, medium and grade. Without that you cannot move ahead. Yep. So these are the this is the user type selection, and another mandatory field is, you can see it, this _m field, I think, which Rajiv has mentioned, _m and _o concept. What are these? Whether those are mandatory or those are optional. So this is another form, which is framework category. So this is required to configure this page. So I think you must have seen this page, where board, medium grades are given. So here what the UI is given. So here we are completely changing the UI labels. So here you can see the sample category 2, sample category 3, we are giving it. So this is the example it is given, where we are changing the UI labels itself. So the placeholder here what we are giving this. So same concept, we are giving a stringified JSON itself here in the placeholder, where you can give your any text whatever you want to change it. So this is label and this is placeholder. Placeholder actually this is this one. So once suppose it is not selected, it will ask that select board, because it's already selected. So that's why it's not showing that select board.
So in the JSON we are getting in already in the curly brackets, so we don't need to put it there.
Where?
The JSON file. Yeah. The placeholder, the label. It's already here in the curly brackets. So this is for a translation only.
Yeah, this is for translation. So this terminology we are using different. Somewhere it's translation, somewhere it's placeholder. So we are, but the in complete mobile app what we are using a same format. Same format where we will use the translations files, because we are supporting suppose 10 translations. So we'll have to provide all those all those translation in the single stringified JSON. If those translations are not there, it will default it back to English. Okay, so by default it should be given all the languages, but here we have given only English itself. So here you can see we have given this code category 1, category 2, and here you can change the labels and change the placeholders. So these are the mandatory forms. So once suppose a new instance has been created, suppose you want to create a new instance of Diksha itself. So without these two forms, you cannot launch the mobile app. So these two forms are completely mandatory. So first to install these two, because I think portal team, I think they do a single installation. So in part of that, as part of the single installation, those two forms will be installed. I think I'm not sure if single installation is mentioned or not.
No, one-click installation.
Sorry, one-click installation.
That is Santosh Gandham will take.
Okay. So I think in that part of that, as part of that single installation, all these forms will be installed. So that whenever suppose someone is building one mobile app in that new instance, so there will be no issues. in the like server point of view.
Install as in the machine or
Yeah, not in the machine. So someone is setting up because you guys have already Dixa is already pre-built and installed. Suppose someone is creating a fresh instance. Suppose you are creating one fresh instance, some XYZ instance. Not developer, you are creating a fresh instance. Like not suppose what? Suppose suppose right now you have staging.
Adapter.
You can tell that suppose a new adapter is there. Because they will be completely coming as a fresh mindset. So they don't have anything. They have complete clear database. So they are trying to build a mobile app. Okay. So because they don't have any form. So first they will have to because portal has some mandatory form collections and mobile app also these two form collections. So those two forms should be installed as a first step. Without that,
in the machine, right?
not in the machine, in the server, because
The server, okay.
yeah, because adapter they will because for the like they will be consuming the APIs, right? Because these are all because these are accessed by the APIs. So first in the server these form collections should be uploaded. Without that mobile app will not work. So we are trying to build it so that these we should like avoid all these compulsory forms, but we are in the process of doing that one. But right now these are the two forms which is complete necessary. So there are lots of other forms are there which I will also like touch upon all those values, like home page forms are there, profile forms are there, user forms, utility forms there, because there are around 20 or 25 odd forms are there which are using it, and the details of those form you
All
can
this information is in that draft.
yeah
Right?
Yep.
It's available right now.
Yes. So you can actually that is not uploaded yet. So it is uploaded into this docs file, Sunbird docs. So there, this is the JSON Postman file itself. Okay, so you can copy this file and you will upload it to the Postman. It will work, just like it will show it here. So it will be uploaded. So
Show the path.
it's not visible.
It is in Sunbird, right?
So in the Sunbird you can search docs. So it will be like we'll update that once it is published. We'll update that in the Gitbook. So right now what you will have to do, you will have to just copy this JSON and put it in Postman. It will automatically import everything. So in the mobile folder only one file is there. So it is very okay. Okay. So once I think it is once you have launched the app, so you are ready to like consume all the workflows. So because once the app is now launched, so you will have to make sure that you are aware of, because as a developer you should be aware of all the functionalities, because without knowing the functionality you can roam around it, but there will be like you cannot find anything. So you will have to know what all functionalities are there.
I do have a question about the app key again.
Yep.
Who are going to be the right person to ask for the app key?
DevOps, whoever has onboarded like specific, because I am saying that instance means Dixa, like Sunbird is the like white labeled app itself there. So Dixa is one of the product. So similarly there are some other products are there. So someone has onboarded Dixa using Sunbird. So DevOps team, they will generate the keys itself. No, I think these keys have already provided. So I think all the keys are available in I think one private repo in Dixa is there. It is already available. I think I have already talked to one person. I cannot remember his name.
Without it would not be able to deploy it.
Yeah. Yep. So once you have set up all these things, so to build it in your local machine, so you will have to only run the script. Yep. So to build it in a local machine, you will have to run this script. So what this script will do, so So first of all, it will try to remove if you have like existing node modules are there, platforms are there, plugins folders are there. It will try to remove all these things, and it will first install all the plugins, because to run all these the Sunbird mobile app, we need lots of plugins. So all the plugin details are available in this build config folder. So here you can see it. So here what we are doing, we are reading this build config folder and trying to install all the plugins. So here we are installing all the plugins here. So this is part of the build script where we will install all the plugins itself. So the plugins includes this. So these are the plugins that is being used by Sunbird mobile app. So few of the plugins are like homegrown, like which we are building those plugins, and some of the plugins are already available in the NPM, like open source plugins that we are using. For example, this printer and this Ionic keyboard and a device, file, in-app browser, status bar. Those are like already the plugins has already been in the open source.
You have used deep link URL in the
Yes.
configuration, right? But here we don't have any deep link plugin.
No, we are not using any deep link plugin.
For Android.
So yeah, so the
For
deep link,
iOS, we do have.
yes, for iOS we do have.
So why?
So
We
the
don't have requirement for deep link.
yeah, so the reason is, so whenever we have developed, actually the iOS came much late. So it's like in last I think one or 2 years back. So but the complete deep link thing which we have implemented, it was like from the beginning, like around 4 years back. So that deep link implementation we have implemented. We have a plugin.
Build .iOS datasets you will have.
No. So for Android we are using this Sunbird Splash.
Sunbird Splash. So this
Yeah.
is the alternate of deep link plugin.
Yeah, so this is not all, because this is the plugin which handles the splash screen along with the deep link, because that is the entry point. Because deep link, what it will do, it will just handle the entry point of the application. So it will handle like the Sunbird splash screen. I will explain in this.
So whenever I'm trying to share a course on WhatsApp or something,
Yeah.
I have a link.
Yeah.
So what deep links do? When we click on the link, it
Yes.
shows us the options for browser
Yeah.
or app.
So that depends, because this has been recently changed in
In
Android 12. You
yeah.
cannot do that. You will have to do some fingerprint upload into the.
So my question is, this Sunbird Splash works for Android 12 plus?
Yes. So because in 6, because this has been introduced in 5.2.
Okay.
So I think you.
5.2, but we are
Yes, we are using 5.1.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Because
So
we are getting that issue in
yeah.
Android.
So that logic, whatever we are there, we have completely removed from this Sunbird Splash plugin. And because for that you don't need anything. Only you will have to upload that fingerprint in your host. After that it will automatically work.
So can we use this plugin in 5.1? Can we?
This plugin.
This Sunbird Splash. But the deep link.
Now deep link wala, I think that that complete implementation is there 5.2 itself. You don't have to do anything. So you will have to
Upgrade
uh,
only.
yeah.
Because in the deep link I try to install that plugin also for Android, but again that issue is.
Yeah, and because Android 12 doesn't support that,
for
yes.
Android I have to do asset links and
Yeah, you will have to upload that. I think okay,
there
Diksha,
is a solution for it.
there is a solution for it, because that is Google recommended only.
But
yeah.
I have not done that. I'm not sure it is good or not, or
No, because in 5.1 itself you can use it, but you can try it out. There are few things which were changed here. Also there are few things, because the main part is that uploading that fingerprint of your app.
definitely need to check everything about that.
Yeah. So you can check. You just check. I think there is one. I can give you the link of that complete implementation.
Okay.
It's there in the
That will be
conference.
helpful, yeah. Okay, so for this Sunbird Splash, it will work for iOS as well? Or for iOS I have to use deep link only?
No, iOS actually for the deep link implementation they are using the deep link plugin.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm using deep link. So I'm thinking that if I'm using that works for 5.1, I use the
So you
plugin
want to-
for iOS and Android.
That we haven't tried, because our implementation is deeply like attached to Sunbird Splash. That's why we haven't touched that plugin
But
itself.
I'm not getting that issue which I'm getting in Android for Android 12 or plus. iOS it is working.
iOS it will work,
It is
because
working
that plugin is completely updated and it works perfectly. So if you want to support that, I think anyhow you will have to, because you will have to upgrade it to I think 6. Like recently you will have to go to 6.
Line to 5.1 actually.
Yeah, the reason is I think you will get to know there is some account deletion features are there. So those things should be like those with that functionality should be there in the app, or else they will reject the app.
Yes, correct.
So without, because that functionality is being like under development, so you'll have to use that functionality, or else that company they will remove the app itself. So that deadline is on I think December. So I think you guys anyhow, I think that's the call that you will have to take. So you will have to adapt the latest version.
Share the link you have for that document after this meeting.
Yeah. So just remind me.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So these are the plugins which we are maintaining it. So where you are seeing this project -Sunbird. So we are actually maintaining these plugins like this QR scanner, Sunbird Splash, plugin sync, in-app update manager, and here it is custom tabs, DB plugin, download manager, utility, and few up here. Not this one. Now this FCM also we are there are some few modifications we did it in FCM plugin, and this zip plugin. So these are all like we are maintaining it. Other than that, all others are like open source plugins. Okay, so this is like once you have cloned the Sunbird mobile app, and you have set up all the necessary configurations. So you'll have to just run build.sh. So at the end of it, it will generate the APK, and you can use the APK itself. So the APK, I think you will find it in the platforms folder. So here you can find the, okay, I think it's not created yet, it's a fresh project. Okay, so anyhow you will find it in the platform folder itself. There is a build folder, inside that you will find the APK.
I do have a question about it. We do have two environment instances, prod and prod. So it creates folder for pre-prod and prod.
Yes.
What actually the problem is, we are not able to run the ionic build command directly from here in the root folder. We have to go to that because it's not finding that. We are facing that issue.
Like
because generally we have that app output, then debug, and then we have the app, right?
Yes.
So the app build command is actually finding on the same path, but that path is, we do have different path. We have a production folder there and a pre-production folder there.
No, so you cannot directly launch because directly launching into the emulator, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, actually that is the issue with Cordova, like latest Cordova that is being published. That is the issue with that, because what we usually do that, we have that path itself. We directly do
that
ADB. We use ADB commands,
ADB command, yeah.
ADB install and do it.
Okay, so is there any way we can remove that production, pre-production, that folders? We just want a normal flow. I mean, like in future we are not supporting the pre-production.
So then you can just remove it, these things, no? So in the build extras.gradle, so we have this product flavors.
Okay.
So you just comment it out or remove it. So I think for you will have staging. You will have pre-prod and prod.
Yes, pre-prod and prod.
So you just comment out the pre-prod section. It will only generate production build.
Build extras. I actually tried this thing, but again I was getting two folders. I don't know.
You just clear. So you'll have to first do a Cordova clean. It will first clean up everything.
Yeah.
Then just comment it out,
Do I have
because
to add the platform again?
no, platform is not required.
Platform is not
So the reason that because how many instances are there, the build time will increase, because that npm run build, it will execute all the instances and create the APKs. It will generate 3 builds at a time. So it will take time consuming and all these things. So whenever you suppose you are developing it, you just comment out like all the other instances. Suppose you are working in pre-prod environment, only keep the pre-prod environment and you can work on it. So this is like local development. So I think while giving it to suppose you are giving it to your QA, or we are giving it to some other people to test it out. So there actually we have a Jenkins job which will do all the operations. Just a minute. Yeah. So this is the job which, because whatever things that I told manually, like we'll have to execute build sh, we'll have to install Ionic, all these things. So this is the job that it will create all the APKs and all these things automatically for you guys itself. I think all the information of this job and all, it's already there. I think you can ask your DevOps team and all. This job is already there in the Dixa platform itself. You can use it. So whenever you want to give some build to your QA or someone else, so you can use this Jenkins job. So what it will do? So we are using two things. First is the GitHub release tag. Another is the branch. This is the public tag. This is the private branch. So once you click on build, it will just execute the build sh command, and the output will be. And the output will be this. So this will, because anyhow you are aware that APK is not supported now. So it will generate the AB file, one debug file, and some local bundle files that I will explain it I think after this. So this AB file, it will, once these files are generated, so you don't have to, every time you will have to generate from, ideally you should not rely on your machine, because all the files were generated, you should not rely on your machine, because your configurations in the machine changes, like every time it changes. So rely on Jenkins, whatever, like for giving it to, like uploading into production, and to giving it to QA, rely on the Jenkins. Jenkins will give you all the files that is required. It will also give you the debug APK for you guys to test it out, and for the production it will give you the AB file to upload into the Play Store. And the configuration that I told,
Don't we need any key store or finder files?
it will, so that's what I will tell you. Because we have that command. So this you are saying that this is the public that I told you. The Jenkins job takes two inputs. One is the GitHub release tag, another is the branch. Okay. So the first one is the release tag, which will this is the public. Like suppose you are using release 5.1, so it will be release-5.1.0. So and this private tag which I am giving, this release-6.0.0. So this contains all private information. Like private information means, because we cannot push our properties file to the public. Okay, so that's why we are putting it in a private location. So the private location, okay, so these are the files which is required to build, because we are cloning it directly from the Sunbird, and that Sunbird file doesn't have any specific things to build the app. So you will have to inject some properties to that clone project. So here are those files which we are injecting into that specific Sunbird app code itself. So it contains some configurations. So it contains some like configure.json, some local configuration files are there, notification configurations are there, and some I18N. I18 means actually we are also pushing all those translation files also to that specific. If you want to change something, so you can also push that I18N file. Resources. So resources will contain this main thing is IC launcher PNG. This is required for your app icon. So suppose you want to convert Sunbird app into Dixa. So this IC launcher should be a Dixa icon. So once this configuration there, the Sunbird app will be converted into Dixa app. So if we'll say this icon is I don't think right now it is Dixa. There's some configurations are missing here. So this, all the configuration specific there should be there. If you are building a Diksha specific thing, it should be Diksha specific icon, Diksha specific configuration, everything should be here itself. And you told how you will sign the APKs.
Yes.
Yeah. So that signing all the keys and so those are available in this folder. So here you can see this certificate JK's file and this build.json file. Yeah. So this is a private folder. I think Diksha will also have a one private folder. Okay. So this actually you cannot access it. So you can access it in Diksha.
I don't see any private folder here.
So you can search for mobile app something, Diksha mobile app. You will find, or if you don't have an access, you can ask whoever is maintaining your GitHub.
Yeah.
They will give you the access.
Okay. So there must be, that is also created by Sunbird, but that
Yeah.
is just for the Diksha.
Yeah, that is for Diksha. So that specific configuration that converts Sunbird to Diksha.
Okay.
So because all the configuration, Diksha specific configurations are there in this folder itself. So whenever we are doing that build sh command, so you can see here. So you can see this npm run ionic build -- angular configuration and angular configuration. So whenever we'll give whatever, if we are giving debug configuration, you will generate a debug build, and after that, if you want a production configuration, here it will be production. So once it
For production, I need to put the configuration for the key signer.
no here it will generate that this thing. So here if you will see this node options and max that heap size.
This will generate.
Yeah. So ionic Cordova build android --prod --release build config and this build JSON file. This build JSON file will contain the complete information. This your certificate, what is the location of your certificate?
It was used previously also. But we didn't
No. I think for,
previous one, no?
yeah, because that is the certificate.
Of
You,
course, I need that.
without that, if you have misplaced, I think right now they have given lots of other functionality also. But previously, what you used to have, if you miss the certificate, means you are
We
gone.
can't deploy, yeah. That's I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so build.com, build.com.
Yeah.
Got it.
So in build.sh, it will generate both debug build and the production build.
So those files and secrets are in the build.json, right?
Yeah.
I have to put it here from taking from that person.
Yeah, and you will have, this is only for, because you don't need any like production build to test it in your local machine. So you can just go ahead with the debug build. This is only for whenever if you want to generate the production build that is required. So ideally this command should be done executed in the Jenkins for the production build. Ideally if you are generating on a local machine, this will be,
We are actually using not for the QA release, we are using Firebase, right?
no, Jenkins is like it will just it will just orchestrate all those scripts. It will just execute the build sh command because we are also using Firebase. It will execute the build sh commands and then it will just execute one deploy command. It will get that AAB file, just execute one command of the this Firebase.
For
It
the
will.
process, currently we are using Android Studio, the process of Android.
So ideally that is not recommended. So ideally this should be completely automated.
Again,
Okay.
the build command not working for live reload.
Okay, live reload. Actually, live reload we have stopped the support because initially we were doing it because
How did it stop and how we can start it again? Because it's
yeah,
time of
it is time consuming. So it was being started after that because we have added lots of our custom plugins. So it started breaking. So we have stopped that live reload itself because few initial steps it will work the live reload. After that because we have added all lots of plugins, it stopped working.
You manage, how you always build after the changes?
Actually, it is for us. It is not that much slow because ideally it will opens up in like 10 seconds.
Just for little UI changes.
So if someone is coming from a web background, it will be very much difficult because whoever is coming, because in native thing we usually set like 10 minutes for a build. That's like that's a habit for us. So yeah, so live reload, I think we can work up upon it. So right now I think in our machine it usually like completes in 10 seconds to like launch the app. If the machine is slow, or mainly Windows machine and Ubuntu machines, if it is like low configuration, it will take 5 minutes to 5 minutes or 7 minutes to launch the app itself. So few functionalities, because there are lots of custom plugins are there. Because of that, live reload stopped working. So it might, because we will start. I am expecting, because in next few releases we will be working on the capacitor. Okay, so capacitor might support the live reload properly. We are like working on the like process of the supporting it. Yes, yes. Because
How are you doing the development? Like,
no capacitor.
no, right now, like for this, when you were developing this, like how did you made the changes so that it
Yeah, normal whatever npm run ionic build
Build every time.
every time. Yeah.
But we do.
So that's what. So I'm telling whoever is coming from like web background. So they like UI changes. You just some changes you like see it.
will not reflect immediately?
Okay, if because we are coming from like mobile background, we usually set up like 15-20 minutes for a build for the Gradle, because Gradle builds are too much expensive, like memory expensive. So they take like 10-15 minutes. So that live reload is a good feature. So we are now migrating to capacitor. We're seeing if we can incorporate that changes itself.
It is actually degrading the download, developing performance.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
actually affects very much.
So I think better, because we will not suggest that, because if good configuration machines are there, it will obviously come up in a like at least 10 seconds, because we usually run in 10 seconds. And also you can do some tweaking that comment all those instances. So those
In that
things.
case also we have to start from the home page. If we are in between.
Yes.
Also takes time.
Okay. So that anyhow, that's a yeah. So capacitor thing we'll try to resolve it. I think you can put up this in. It's already there. I think someone asked me this question previously. Someone was working. Yeah. Okay, so these are like builds, how we have created builds. So I told how local builds are working, how we are creating production ready build. So now we'll directly, okay, so after this, guys have having any doubts? Anyone?
Okay, for the resources folder, as you said that we just have to change the image at one place, or
Yeah.
for the whole resources folder,
No, one place, but like
IC launcher.
IC launcher, because that is a like for your local development, that is not required. That is required for Jenkins build.
But for the local, how we get the reach hello? Right now we have loading the project from Sunbird.
I think that it is already in that private repo. It's already there.
Yeah, in
So
private
so you can get it from there itself.
that.
Huh. Okay, anything else? Any questions, doubts? Should we go ahead? Anusha, any questions? Hey, you told you have lots of doubts. Okay, so we will go to the architecture here. Yep. So anyhow, we are following the basic Ionic Angular architecture, where we are maintaining all the modules. In the SRC folder, we'll have all the modules, and those modules will communicate with the UI, like APIs and all these things. So here are some few modules are there, like home module is there, and giver code editor module is there, content details, inner course details. So I will explain some of the modules where you can just have an idea like how we are doing our like maintaining our modules, and how we are creating our pages, and how we are like calling the APIs and all. And I have kept manage learn a separate thing, because this is a completely separate module. This is completely separate team is doing, which I think Kiran will explain it tomorrow's session. He will explain the management module. So technologies used here anyhow Angular, Ionic and TypeScript. These are the I think basic languages that we are using it. And apart from all those modules, similarly as of portal team, we are also using the Sunbird consumption. This is the common consumption like library, forms library, styles and themes. This is the basic CSS libraries. And these are and Sunbird Mobile SDK, this is the common library that is only being used by Sunbird Mobile App. And Sunbird Client Services also, I think Rajesh might have covered it yesterday. So this is basically a library which is being used by all the components, all the clients basically, like portal, mobile app, desktop, players also use all this library. This is a basic HTTP calls that we are only doing it in this library itself. Apart from that, I think you already have the content player, the players that we are using, content player, video player, EPUB player, PDF player and QML player. And also I think SB Dashlight already Rajiv has mentioned it, discussions UI and SB notifications. So these are the libraries that these are libraries which are maintained by Sunbird 8 team and we are using it.
The management session should be held tomorrow.
I think tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow only.
It will be held only for mobile or for
No, both.
so here in front end or in the end or
I don't have an idea. That is
No, front end only.
यहीं पे है क्या?
I am not sure which where.
रूम फ्रंट एंड का ये है क्या चैनल है?
हाँ, front end only because they have a complete, because mobile app has specific workflow and Management has like whole together there is a separate app inside Sunbird itself. You will feel that there is a separate app itself and they have separate flow. Okay, so the major section here another is, so this is the complete UI. So these are all modules which is completely UI based. So how we are consuming the APIs. So this is the key section. So because this is being used by portal, this is being used by mobile app. This has been what client services does, it calls the API and sends the response as it is. Like whatever response is written, it will just give it as it is. But mobile app reads the responses in a different way, that it has separate separate model and separate response structure, which mobile SDK, whatever API response returned by client services, it converts that response, the Sunbird SDK converts that response which mobile app can understand. So the reason to add mobile SDK is that we don't want Sunbird mobile app code to be like clumsy enough to add all those business logic and all these things. So mobile SDK handles all those API calls and offline state management and like any kind of complex logic, or everything is available in the mobile SDK. All the UI logic is available in the mobile app itself. In here mobile SDK I will explain later, there is a separate I think session is there which will do it. So mobile SDK contains all these things. So for offline caching thing, and we are using SQLite and shared preference. SQLite I think we might already been aware of. Shared preference is a lightweight one database that we are using for like any small amount of data we can store it in the shared preference.
So in SQLite you create tables
Yes.
for every content.
That I will tell in that session itself what all things we are storing it in SQLite. So there are like around 20 odd tables are there which are maintaining to utilize this functionality.
20 parameters for accessing it.
Yeah, everything. Yep. And ML API service anyhow, that I am not explaining it. Okay, so here all the API calls will come to Sunbird Mobile SDK. Mobile SDK will actually in mobile app we are not directly calling the APIs. So all the API calls that we'll see will consume it via Sunbird Mobile SDK. We are not directly calling Sunbird client services. You will see in the code. So we call Sunbird Mobile SDK for any APIs. We'll call Sunbird Mobile SDK. Sunbird Mobile SDK will call client services. Then client services could directly call the APIs.
Can you show one API calling system?
Yeah, I'll show that one. So, so for I think once, so here we are showing whatever, suppose we are getting the APIs, suppose we want to cache it for future like usage or offline usage. So we cache it in the local database itself, whatever database that we are managing, we will just cache it and sends the response back to the mobile app. So mobile app is not aware that what is happening internally. So mobile app is just asking for some response, he is getting back, that's it. So all these nitty-gritty has been handled by Sunbird Mobile SDK. Yep. So this API call comes to the API manager, and API manager, I think all the whatever building blocks are there. So these are the building blocks that is being like mobile app access. So that complete flow I will show you in the SDK session. I think that will be better because I can explain it better there. So okay, so I will go to the code structure. So what are the code structures that we are following here? Okay, so here if you can see it, so I am not explaining that circle CI and all whatever, because for test cases and all we are using circle CI. Build config folder ideally contains, I told you, all the properties file and whatever the build JSON file for signing the certificates, build extras root DLL file, and this data folder. So this data folder, what is there? I think someone has asked question how we are pre-bundling those data. You have asked question in the yesterday session, right? Like once you are installing it, how, if you are offline during the installation, what will happen? So what we are doing it, so we are storing some pre-built responses here, like which is required to complete your onboarding. Suppose you have user, because in our onboarding steps, we have user type selection, we have framework selection, we have some state and district we are going to select it. So to at least people who are using it, suppose they don't want, so we have kept all the responses in here so that they won't face any issues during offline thing. At least they will complete the onboarding process, at least they should come to the home page. Without any hassle, they can come to the home page. In home page, actually, if they don't have an interconnection, they cannot, because in home page we are using search API. Search API will not work offline. So at least they should complete the onboarding process, and whenever the internet comes, then that will like the search API will call and they will see the contents. So here you can see there are folders instance wise. Here you can see prod instances there, staging instances, dev instances there. So in the staging instances, so I think Rajesh has already shown some of the how they are doing it. So here we are storing the channel information, some forms, like whatever forms that is required for onboarding. This thing we are storing it. Then frameworks. So we are storing some basic frameworks. So which is like, suppose there are like 10 frameworks are there, you can only access few of those frameworks. But in the, if you will see, you can just explore the, excuse me, in the Diksha framework, in Diksha APK itself. Actually, because in Diksha there is support of like 36 frameworks or some 36 odd frameworks are there. We are storing all the responses of it in the APK itself. So whenever the app is built, so in the Jenkins itself, whenever the APK is getting created, we usually call all the frameworks APIs to be like package all the form API response, framework API response, some channel information, some location information. So you can see all the location informations are there, like district level and state level informations are there, so that they will not face an issue while they are installing the app offline. So those things are available in the data folder. And then I think some configuration, these are basic Ionic configurations are there. So these are some basic Ionic folders, and then platform folders, it is automatically created. Once you will have Android platform, you added the platform, it will create it. Then plugins folder, it contains all the plugins that is being used by Sunbird mobile app. So here I will explain in the plugin session itself what all plugins, and I will explain few of the functionalities like what is required. So here it contains all the plugin information. And resources, similarly we have all the icons and whatever things are required, we put it in this resources folder. And then scripts, so these are the scripts, I think whatever scripts that is required to, like few scripts are there to for migrations we have some scripts, for Android application we have some scripts. So there are the scripts which is required to set up the mobile app. So these are the scripts are available here in the scripts folder. Then comes the SRC. I think we are following basic Angular code structure where we are creating modules. So actually in portal they have modules based upon some functionalities, suppose like user or some content, those are like modules. So but in mobile app what we are following like page wise we are creating modules. So one example is content details page. So content details page is like a single page, like I will show you that page. Yeah, so this is the content details page. Okay, so this will only show the all the child means basic single content, it will just show up. It will show up the basic function there, it will just on click of play, it will just play the content. Yep. So here
Clicking on that play button, it
will go to the player.
web view.
No, not web view, it will open the player.
Open the player.
Yeah.
Player code is inside.
Yeah, because we are integrated that all the players, right? Video player, EPUB player, PDF player, all these things. And there are lots of functionality, delete, share, rate, and some basic information of that specific content and ratings and all these things. Those are available in the content details page. So while creating, suppose you are trying to create a separate module of it, or you are creating a separate functionality. So what we are doing, we are first creating one module class. So this module class will contain all the functionalities, all the modules that we are going to use in that specific, all the external modules that we are going to use in this module. So here you can see that the external module that we are using here is Sunbird video player module. I think this is required for I think for playing the videos and all. And other than that, these are like common forms module, ironing module. These are common ironing modules.
Code for playing, like we have a icon, we have a play icon. We click on that, we call a function there.
Yeah.
There, from there we are calling a player.
Yes.
By sending a URL, like something. Like
Yes.
yeah. So that function is going there. I just want to see that.
Okay. So. हाँ मैं इसको थोड़ा देख रहा हूँ ना, उसके बाद पढ़ाई करूँगा. Play. Yeah, so this is the play button, you can see it here. Okay, so play, I think basic UI, whatever images that we are given. On click of it, we are calling this handle content play. So there are lots of other functionalities also apart from this play. You can just explore the code where you can see it. So once we call it, so the actual code is available once. Yeah, so this is the play content. So here, I think here you can see that the other conditions are there. Once the actual functionality, so there is a handler class is there where we are launching the content player. Yep. So these are the configurations that I think Vinu has told that we are sending some configuration back to the content player. So this is the method launch content player where we are sending some configuration. So this is the metadata which we are sending, and whether is streaming is false or not. There are other functions, that other arguments are also there which we require to play the content. So once we are done with all these steps, after that we'll get the player configurations. So I will also show in the meantime also these player configurations. Yeah. So this is the player configuration. So because if you'll see, player is completely, you can say this is a like generic. It's very generic. So whatever you will give, the same thing it will play. It will not understand anything. Okay. So here this is the player config. So player config, so we are sending some basic configurations. So basic configuration means what is the like splash text will look like, what is the icon look like, what is the web page look like, web link look like, whether we want to show the end page or not, what we never told that the end components are there.
So basically this player also, they does not load or download the content.
No. So that
Show it through the web link.
yeah, not web link. Actually, player is a complete component. So if you will see, there is a so we are using player that all the players, right? Video player, EPUB player. So this is being used here. So this is player page.ts. Here all the players are here available. So based upon the content type, we are loading those components. So here, if the player type is Sunbird PDF player, we are loading the Sunbird PDF player. Okay. If player type is EPUB player.
In the end, it is going to the Sunbird PDF
Player, yes. It is loading that specific component, the player itself. So because we are not doing it, we are just navigating, you do your own thing.
We are just giving it.
Yeah, so you do your own thing, play that content, while coming back, we'll gather some data, we'll process it.
And that player content do their work.
Yes.
Taking the link and
Yep.
do whatever.
So that I think while how this online and offline thing works, that I will explain you. So while giving the, because we'll have to give some configuration. So while giving the configuration, we'll have to give some specific configurations which I was explaining it. So apart from this player config, we'll have to send this information context also. So there are like SIDs, DIDs, channel information, P data. So SIDs are basically, we'll have to send some system because these are information required by the player to generate the telemetry. So because telemetry is it's a completely compulsory essential thing in Sunbird ecosystem. Without telemetry, I think it's kind of bread and butter of Sunbird. Okay, so like for generate to, because as I already told, player is completely generic. It knows nothing. So whatever information we will send, it will just generate. So these are the information required to generate the telemetry. So SID is like session ID, we'll have to give some DIDs, some channel information, some P data, some C data. These are the some, you can explore the telemetry configuration, you will find all this link there. So what all parameters that are required to generate those telemetry. So these are all telemetry specific thing, and these are to configure the player, like what is the splash, whether to show the end page or not, whether to show the overlay or not, what are the plugins that we are going to support. These are all these things. So once we have Yep. So once we have this configuration, so this player service is a SDK method. So that's I already told. In mobile app, we don't do any heavy like any kind of business logic. We are not doing it. So the player we are calling player service. So player service will give the complete information about the specific content. It will give the response once it is written. So here we are directly in the, you can see it here. We are directly, router is directly navigating it to the player, and player will decide what kind of like in that player page.ts. Here it will decide whatever player it is. Depending upon the player, it will load the component. Okay, so this is like each module. You can go through all the modules, what kind of modules that we are doing, how we are creating modules. So in each module, how we are creating one SCSS file, how we are creating HTML files, and any of those are like test cases, and so these are test data and some test cases. So these are the 5 files that is like completely necessary for a module.
I have a question for
Yep.
the player page.ts. Player page.html actually.
Okay.
Okay, the line number 3, there is a source which is loading here, content player preview.html. I just want to understand that. Line number 3. It's again in the iframe. We discussed about it, but I just thought it's not very clear about it.
Yeah, so this is actually, so the condition you can see player is the Sunbird hyphen old player. So
This is iframe.
yeah, this is the V1 player. So that's why as this is the V1 player, we can, and it is using I think Angular JS.
Yes.
So that's why we cannot directly load that component in our like Ionic page, specific page, because if you will see, this player page is a completely one Ionic component. Okay, this is one Ionic component. Okay, we cannot directly use that V1 wala thing
Yeah.
directly in the Ionic component. So we have to load that component in an iframe, as that is the Angular JS specific code.
So basically, where this content, this preview.html file, where it is,
Yeah. So
that is in the plugin. Oh, sorry, the library.
yeah. So that I will tell you. So the
Actually, it's Raj, the same person actually is facing that issue. So he pinged me to ask how you are.
okay. So this is the content player. Okay. So this is the content player that this is normal package that we are using. Okay. So the reason is what we need that preview.html and everything in one place. So that is available in here. You can see it, right?
Okay. The content player.
Yeah, content player folder. The reason is we are directly doing one npmi. So while building it,
But again, it is actually dependent on some other JS files.
yes,
We don't.
yeah. So we have to do it because as it's kind of
We can't load it
yeah,
inside it. Okay.
yeah.
got it.
So copy.
And if I want to access the HTML, I have to go to that V1 player.
Yes,
Access the HTML
yes.
player and load it.
So here you can see there is one script. This is before build and before run that we are using it. So once you do one npmi, so of that specific content player, I'll node modules. I don't have any node modules. Can't even see it here. Yep. So this is the once you do one npmi. So this will contain this all these folders. So what we are doing in the script itself, after the npmi happens,
NPMI for the content player.
yeah, for the content player, yes. So we copy all these things. So we copy it, we like excluding all these things like node modules, preview.html, readme chunks and all these things. We copy everything and put it. So you will have to include these things in your source code. So we replace all these things and put those things in the node modules itself. So these things are completely necessary. So to load that one, because preview.html, this is completely required to load the v1 wala player. Okay. So that's what if we'll go player. So it is just loading one iframe. So here you can location, you can see content player / preview.html. The location is given here. So it's the root directory, content player, preview.html.
And they are loading the library.
Yeah. So that is loading, because the reason I told you, because v1 is like kind of legacy code that we had.
It is not here on the other.
Yeah. Yes, because these are all v2 players. So we don't have to do it. These are basic things. We just load that specific component. So these are all, you can go through all these modules what we have. And apart from src folder, assets, I think same thing. There's some images, styles and all these things are there in the assets folder. Then directives, anyhow we are using basic Angular concept, we are using some directives, some guards we are using it. Pipes also, we are using some basic pipes which we need to build it. Suppose some functionality there, we don't want to repeat it everywhere, we just use it the pipe in the HTML itself to make the functionality smooth. Services, we are keeping any services that any functionality that we want to use in like lots of modules, we create those as services and use that in all the modules. And apart from that, I think these are all SCSS files, tsconfig, basic default components, www folder.
Out of Google service.html, I do have a question.
Yep.
Okay, so we made a project in Firebase with the same API, app ID which we are using for Android. This is the process, right? So we got the Google service.json file, we put it here. So now what the issue I was getting, Google service.json is responsible for the Google login, right?
No, we are not actually using it for Google login.
We are not using it.
So we are only using it for notifications.
Okay. All right. So, but we do have the feature for Google login.
Yes,
for
yes.
Android and iOS. Okay. So for that, I observed the code. I went into deep down into it, and I observed that the client ID for the Google client ID that is coming again from Sunbird. That was dynamic basically. Not
That is coming from an API, system settings API.
Somewhere from dynamic, but not from this Google service.
No, not from here.
But why? I mean, we can add this feature. We can just add the auth service in the Google. Why do we did that?
Auth service actually that was not meant, because this previously we used, I think Rajiv has explained it. Previously we have completely web-based login. Like we are directly calling portal. We are loading the portal page itself. There you do the login and portal will send back some information like a token and all. will receive it, store it, and use it as it is. But after that, I think in 5.1, I think we have introduced the like in-app Google login. So there, because the client specific client ID and all, we cannot put it anywhere in because we cannot expose it. So that's why we are directly, instead of putting in Google service, because Google service we'll have to inform that now use this Google service JSON file and all these things. We just put it in the one API. So that I think system settings API is there. So in the system settings API, we just put it there, and whoever suppose some new adapter came in, they want to update there. We don't have to tell them just go there and update your Google service JSON file. So just go there and update the system settings. Whatever client ID that you have, just update it, and then after that it will work. But I think that client ID, you will have to make sure that portal also using the same specific, I think, server version of it, or else because we are using portal backend services for the Google login, or else it will not work.
And for that, you use Firebase only for Google login client ID, or you have used something else for the Diksha?
There is a plugin. There is a Google login plugin, the Google Plus, I think some Google.
But on that plugin also we have to send the Google client ID. We need to do that.
Which one?
For that plugin, Google login plugin also, we don't have to send in the params. We have to pass. We need to get the Google client ID anywhere.
No, that's why we are directly sending, because you want the API that you're sending, and we are that plugin itself requires that ID.
Yeah, that I got it. But my question is, we are creating a Firebase project. We are creating only one Firebase project, right? So for that, we are using it for notifications, right?
Actually, the login that we're using, we're not using Firebase.
Yeah, that's my question. What we are using for?
The basic Google, I think Google login, there is specific. There is a Google console is there.
Google service.
Because Firebase login is different, because all the things that will be stored in Firebase itself, and we don't want that. We want basic Google login itself. We don't want like Google using Firebase. We are using only Google login.
So actually, what I was getting, the Google login was not working. So I was thinking that I actually created.
No, so are you using in debug mode?
I am using.
Debug mode, it will not work, because you will have to add that fingerprint in the.
But
that
in prod it is working.
Prod it will work.
Yeah.
Because for debug build, it requires that
How is debug?
So that's what I know. So because debug builds have been attached with one sample certificate key, SSS key.
Yes.
So you will have to upload that SSS key in your Google Auth console.
Console. Okay.
Yes.
But actually, there is one issue that actually that Google client ID that comes, it isn't present in our Firebase that we
Because they
have.
have not created Google login in Firebase.
There is no Firebase in Google login.
Not even, sorry, not Firebase. There is a Google console, under Google console also. There also it was not present. That key starts with 4747.
That I'm not aware.
Stored it somewhere else.
No, sir. We are getting it from that console and putting it in the system settings API.
With the system setting API, they are getting that Google client.
So you just get that client ID and search it in the system settings. You can ask any of your backend guy.
No, that from the response we are getting that. Where is that actually made?
Because we need to check the app ID basically, because that was not working, so we were not sure. But as you said, it will not work.
So I think I think whoever has created, I think most probably DevOps team might have created. So using that specific, so you will have to get that account where that is created, then only you can find it.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, as you said, that in debug mode it will not work.
No, it will not. But you will have to put that that certificate, and because while adding it, you can create multiple apps using the same ID. You can multiple apps. Okay.
That will again work for prod only, no? But
No, it will work
debug also.
prod and debug. So how the Google login works, it recognizes only the certificate. Okay. So the thing that is uploaded right now in the production, so that certificate has been given using the I think prod certificate that I think dixa.jks file that is there, using that key.
Okay.
So what you will have to do, you will have to create another application with the same app ID like in.gov.dixa.app or whatever.
In Google service.
In not Google service, in the console, Google console.
Google console, Play console.
Play console. Not Play console. There is one Google console is there, no?
Okay.
So there you will have to create one another application with the same ID, but the certificate will be different.
Just for a debug. Right?
Yeah, just for debug thing. The only thing is that because if multiple people are doing it, then you will get multiple this SSL certificate. Or else you can do every time you can in the build script while creating a build you can give while I am just signing it using a some certificate, right? So in your team you can circulate one certificate so that everyone uses the same certificate during the debugging also.
So these steps we get it from Google.
Those are like basic things. You will get it. Like
Firebase actually.
actually we are not for Google login. We are not using Firebase. I think that's where you were confused.
Yeah, I was confused about it.
Yes. Okay, these are the basic folder structure that we have, like how we create the modules, basic HTML files, CSS, how we are keeping all the directives in a directive folder, pipes folder, and all the scripts that we have. And you can also go through these modules. So here all the module informations are available. You can directly go to the CompoDoc link where you can find all those whatever modules are we are using, what all directives that we are using. You can find it there. All the pipes that we are using, all services that we are using. Yep. Any questions on folder structure, on the code flow? Any doubt?
The file name you mentioned, which was for the Google client ID, settings.
System settings. So that's one API.
And that's API. System settings. Okay.
Okay, so I think now we'll go for few plugins. So,
So we have a DevOps person here for the secret.
okay.
So this.
So you can ask this question where I will get for mobile app onboarding, where you can find the mobile admin secret and admin key. Because during the I think there's some onboarding job is there, right? In that onboarding job you will find those keys, mobile admin secret and mobile admin key. Okay.
So we'll take.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take a break. After that, I think we'll continue with the plugins. I will explain some of the plugins, and then
We do have some questions on iOS.
yeah, and after that,
Continue today or tomorrow?
no, today only.
Today,
Everything is today.
ये दो ही चाहिए बस ऐसे।
we'll just have tea break and.
Check. Okay. So we'll start now with what are the plugins that we are using in Sunbird Mobile App. So these are the plugins which we are maintaining it. So because we are using lots of plugins which are already available in the open source platform itself. So these are the plugins which we are using it. We were maintaining it. So I'll start with I think FCM plugin. So FCM plugin, I think this has been forked from the existing FCM plugin itself, because we have some other functionalities like topic subscription was not there in this plugin. So we have forked it from the existing plugin. and we have just cloned it and added some code, and we are using it as our own plugin.
So the other operations are same for the
Yeah, other operations are the same. We have just added the functionality and use it, because we cannot tell them to add this functionality, because those are the maintainers, they cannot add it. So which is like Sunbird specific property, and we think that how we can improve this functionality. And also because I have also raised PR to the specific repo itself, so that if they will add that functionality, then we will directly use that specific. Because in the open source world, if we will contribute, they will directly utilize it.
which functionality?
I think topic subscription were not there.
Topic.
Yeah, because in Sunbird Mobile App, we are using for a specific group of people. Suppose someone's board is CBSE, class is suppose class 1 and medium is English. We want to send one notification to that specific person. Then we can send it via, because we have some custom made logic. If this will match this filter, it will send the notification. So then in-app update manager. In-app update manager, actually this is which is internally you can update the app. So there are Android functionalities were there, but there were no specific Cordova plugins.
Okay.
So anyhow, we have created one plugin and used it in Sunbird
Maybe
itself.
now, if the internet is good, the app will be updated on itself.
So it will show one, because if you will see in the apps, it will show one pop-up.
Pop-up.
Yeah, so there are multiple functionalities, because there is one functionality where you can force update, because I think you will also see this. Suppose currently we are in 5. Yeah. No. So in the Diksha use case, so suppose you are in 5.1, because if you will see in the Play Store, there are some active versions like from 2.1 also. So you want them to install the latest version. So what you will do? So you will have to prompt them that use the latest version using this in-app update manager. So that will update some form, so that they can directly, whenever they will open the app, it will show that force update, or else you will not be able to use the app.
Okay, if we want to disable this plugin, we don't want to have this plugin.
Oh, you can remove it from package.json and
Code as well, no?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
they have implemented
Yes.
all the functions.
Yeah, so you just search for in-app update manager, just remove all the code.
So these plugins are not dependent on any of the Sunbird SDK or nothing.
Nothing. They are independent. Yep. So there are few plugins that are independent, like used in Sunbird SDK, like these DV plugins, sync, utility. So these are being used in Sunbird SDK. So you cannot directly, you will have to remove it in SDK, also in mobile app. So there are some to and fro that you will have to do. So after that, QR scanner. So I think where is that? So for the coding structure, anything, I think basic coding structure we are following. So in the SRC folder, so this is QR scanner plugin. So QR scanner plugin which we are using, because we could have used the default Ionic Cordova wala QR scanner, but in our mobile app you will see there is a custom QR scanners there, where you show one some at the top of it you will show one yellow bar kind of thing where some text is written. So there is a UI customization there, and how you will, because we are scanning it from one dial code QR code is there, so we are scanning it, so that how you will recognize that specific dial code. So that logic is also there. So for that we have built this plugin.
We actually got some issues with the QR scanner. It was not working properly every time while when we are using the dial code QR for scanning the QR for certificates. It was not working. Sometimes it worked.
Yeah, so you will have to, because the reason is the certificates might be too clumsy, because you will also see if that that certificate is there, it is very clumsy, then it might, you will have to zoom it properly, then it will work. So if you will see a normal QR code, if you will see,
it's very small for city.
Yeah, so if you'll see, this is a normal QR code. So suppose, because ideally some dial codes, like 6 character dial codes are given. So if I'll give you something like this, okay, so now it is getting clumsy. So if that QR code is getting clumsy like this, so it might be very hard to recognize it. So you will have to either just tap on it and just go make it like bring it close,
Maybe you can zoom the
or zoom the picture.
of
So those things I will have to do it. Or else might be you can check in multiple devices. Might be that device is low end or something like that. That you can check.
It actually works for certain devices. Certainly it doesn't work at all. For some devices it took 30-40 seconds.
So it might be like it is taking time to recognize it. Okay, so here we are putting all our Android code.
So if we use a normal Cordova QR plugin, so that dial code scanner will not work in that.
Yes, and that cost customization also will not be there. So because you will get you will get that QR code by that specific text, but after that what you will not do, that I think that will not work, because it will just stay in there. It will just one black screen. So here in the SRC folder, Android specific code will be there in the Android folder, and iOS specific code will be there in the iOS folder itself. And the actual JavaScript calls will be in here. So what all functionalities are there, like start scanner and stop scanner. So these are the two functionalities which have been exposed. So this is another plugin, custom tabs. So custom tabs is right now we are not using it. So previously what we are using it that, so I told you that we are opening one browser where we are opening the portal web page itself. So in that web page there is a Google login. So Google login, the feature, whenever you tap Google itself, so it opens one that accounts is auth page, like accounts or Google something in that page. So you cannot open that link in a browser because of some Google policies. You cannot open that link in a browser. That is a auth page. You cannot open it. So to overcome that, Google has provided their custom tabs, because custom tabs is like one miniature version of the Chrome. It's very lightweight. It is one Chrome instance, but it's very lightweight. So it will open that link. So that auth link, it will open it, and it will give. So once the login is complete, it will just give some callback, like some auth or something. It will just give us back. So because of that reason, we have created this custom tabs plugin, because there are lots of Cordova plugins that we will have to build it, because the plugins are not available readily in the market. So we'll have to build some plugins. So here few methods are there, I think.
So this is just for creating in-app, not in-app.
In the from the browser you can open the Google. Another tab you can.
Open that Google.
Only for Google login itself we have created that one. But anyhow, after recently we have moved to in-app Google login. So we can remove it because if someone wants to use it, they can explore it. So then DB plugin. So DB plugin is basically what all DB operations that we are doing, like that I told. So that I will explain in the SDK.
But no, that custom plugin might be useful for the sign-up pages, because sign-up pages are still on the browser.
Sign-up pages are there, but sign-up pages I think you will have to.
That
login is not there. I think it was there. They have removed it recently or something like that. So DB plugin. So this is the plugin which handles all the DB operations. So the reason we have created, because Cordova has also its own SQLite plugin, and we have compared it while using that plugin. So first of all, the size was more. While adding the plugin, it was adding around 5 or 6 MB of size, and it was taking more time. So what we did, we have created our own plugin which will do simple operations, like if you will see. So there are basic operations like you'll have to initialize the DB, open the DB, close the DB, copy the DB, then read, execute, insert, update, delete, begin transaction, end transaction, and bulk insert. So there are basic DB functionalities.
That's
Sorry.
the alternate for SQLite.
Yes, not alternate SQLite. Cordova has its own plugin, but it was increasing the size because they are, I don't know why they are using it. It was increasing around 6 or 7 MB of size, and we don't want to,
Database is created.
yeah, so we don't want to utilize that.
So do this plugin has the feature to update the code? Like if we are adding something in a table, we are creating a table, we are creating a database, and we created a table for courses, for example. Then again the system comes and we got new courses for that. So
Everything.
we
So
merged, basically the delta operations are now.
delta operation, because if you will see for courses and all, we are creating one content table.
Yes. Okay.
So in that content table, everything is there. Once complete metadata is there. So there we usually, whenever, because every time you go to the content details page or any TUC page, we usually update the latest information. So we every time update the metadata in here itself. So
Okay.
these are the functions like,
So you remove the plugin, remove the data and add
no,
it
update,
in.
because
Update, okay.
update.
Alright. Just for the new new things.
Yep.
Alright. So what are tables, if you have any example?
Yeah, so I think that I will give it in the SDK session. I will show you all these things.
Because in the tables are stored here, so if we will, we can use the app for offline also.
So that's what how it is being used in offline. I will just explain it. So similarly, Cordova Sync is there. So Cordova Sync is the plugin. So this we did it because of so the telemetry. So as I told, telemetry is the bread and butter of Sunbird. So what the user is doing, how the content has been handled, how they are visiting the pages, if they are successfully doing the operations or not. So we are generating telemetries, and there are like around, if you will see, if you visit the app completely, there will be around thousands of telemetry will be generated. Like when we enter the page, when you leave the page, you are doing some operation in the page, all those are generated in the form of telemetries. So to sync those telemetry, because I think Rajesh has told, those telemetries should have also synced to the platform itself, so that at least someone in the Sunbird observe, they analyze those data. So actually what someone doing it, or else to debug, because if you are debugging some issue, like some user is facing this issue, so you will get the DID of that specific user. So suppose because there are programs that happens, okay, programs happens is from the program one guy has reported that, see, I am facing this issue in the content details page. So what you will do, so you just get the DID from that specific user, because the DID you will get in the app itself, like so in the settings page we have the device ID. Okay, so this device ID is been stamped in all the telemetries. So if we will get the device ID and we will search in our, because whatever telemetry we are sending, we will get the like Sunbird observed in that give us all the telemetry that this device ID is generating. So we can analyze the data where the user is facing the issue. So we will see that this guy is entering it, and after that there is no telemetry, means during the entry time itself somewhere it is failing. So we will tell that how. So after that we will ask are you facing some issue while entering the app or entering to the specific page. We can ask some type of questions to that. So this telemetries are very much helpful while debugging some issues. So you will have to analyze those telemetries. So there are multiple loads of telemetries were generated. So to sync it, actually those in JavaScript you already know. So there can be only a single thread that can be executed, and the single thread is being utilized by the UI itself. To sync those telemetry, we'll have to create a separate thread, which we cannot do it in the JavaScript layer. So we have created a separate plugin which is utilizes separate Java thread. That's why we have created a separate plugin itself. It will create a separate Java thread, and try to sync, because there is a sync every 30 seconds, all the telemetry will be synced every time. It will keep on syncing all the telemetry. So if, because previously we have faced this issue that every 30 seconds app used to hang. Like if like some big chunk of telemetry is there, if some background operation is happening, it used to have like people, if in a low end device, it used to like just lag a bit. So we have created a separate plugin where it will sync in the background so that UI will render properly and the telemetry events will.
So basically you must have used async functions or
All the like thread functionality we have used it. Yeah. So nothing will happen in the like UI thread. Everything will happen in the async thread itself. So there are multiple functions exposed here. So basically what sync will do, it will just directly push the telemetry to the server platform itself. Enqueue it will do because all the data will be like it will be saved in the database. Like once we call the enqueue, whatever there in the telemetry table, we'll just add one entry in the network queue table. I will explain it while explaining the network queue itself. We'll sync it, we'll put it like enqueue it, then every 30 seconds we'll try to sync it one by one. Then some callbacks on sync success and some authorization error we have given it. And also the source code, some Java code and some Swift code is already available. After that, this is utility plugin. So this plugin is created. This is actually our dump plugin. So any functionality that we are seeing that the normal plugins, they are not able to handle that thing. So for example, there is one plugin. So we are already using file plugin to do all our operations itself. But we saw that because we are doing lots of file operation, it was taking time. So what we did, we have created this all these file functionalities like remove, download directory, and then create directories, write file, all these things we have exposed into a separate, because these are the methods which will execute in a separate Java thread. We don't have to rely on the JavaScript layer to execute and get back all the data itself. So any native functionality that, because we cannot create, suppose there is some file plugin we want to create, and suppose there is some in-app or some app availability functionality is there. We cannot create like lots of plugins. That's why a single plugin is there, which we have given like utility plugin, and we have dumped all our methods in it, which we were like any like device specific functionality, we just put it here. So these are the plugins, like these are the Sunbird managed plugins which we are using. And after that, I think we'll go to, okay. So these are the basic things that plugins, specific things, code walkthrough and complete thing, those are things are done. So now I will come to the workflow. So workflow, like how, like once a user onboards, how it enters to the app, means how they are treated as guest user and how they are treated as logged in user. So we'll explain about how guest user is created, how logged in user is created. Yep. So first I will start with anonymous user onboarding. Anonymous means suppose you are installing the app, first time you are installing the app. So first time because we are treating every time one user is installing the app and complete the onboarding flow. Complete onboarding flow means he selects the user type, then framework selection, then select some state and state and district and all. When he completes the onboarding, so we will treat that as a guest user. So because he has not already logged in, so we will treat them as a guest user itself. So while treating them as a guest user, so one entry will be created in the database. So that will be treated as a guest user itself, which we will utilize. So that life cycle of that guest user is until the user uninstalls the app. So if that user uninstall the app and install it again, then another user will be created.
Okay, so that is the local database.
Yeah, in the local database. That I will show it how the. I think I can show. So here you can see this is one of the database that I have exported it. So there are lots of tables that are there. Like you can see there is one content table is there. So you were asking that where all the content information is loaded there.
This data is on the local device.
Yes. So that is specific to that device only. It is not anywhere else. So
And I guess we could have access of it through the inspect element that tools.
no.
From the DBs we used to have, SQLite tables, index DB.
You cannot access because in emulator you can access it, but right now whatever devices that I think after 11 or 12, because we usually there is one functional, there is one command you can use it to export the DB.
Yes.
I think you can try it out, you will get it, because I got it from directly, because I am using emulator, so you can directly get it from here. So from the emulator itself you will get all the DB, and say also you can get the cell preference from the Android Studio itself.
Android Studio, na?
Yes. Can you see? So you can see it
Yes,
here.
Here we have DBs, yes.
So here you can get the DB, also you can get the share preference. But in the actual device you cannot get it. You will have to install some specific file explorer and then you will have to get it. So if you are debugging something DB, you will have to install it in your emulator.
This is the debug mode we can get.
But in emulator you cannot do it in real device.
No, the same thing we cannot access in the dev tools.
Ha.
Even emulator is here, we are not.
No, dev tools you cannot, because these are all core device functionalities.
Device.
You cannot, in the inspect you can access only any JavaScript or HTML things that you can access it. But these are all core device functionalities you cannot
are
access.
also not able to access the network tab also in the inspect. I mean, are you able to, or you have disabled it that as well?
No, if it is a production build you cannot access it.
Not the production build, debug build also. Production build as in the pre-prod or prod instances?
No, like release build.
No, we are
Like-
not using that. We are using the debug app only, and whenever
No, here you will get it, no, inspect.
inspect, I can
Okay,
say
you are saying that network API
tab,
calls.
Network API calls, yes,
API calls you will not get it.
fine.
The reason is because we are using because I think you already know that we are using that advanced HTTP plugin. So those are,
Okay, we are using advanced HTTP.
yes,
Not the HTTP client.
no, it's not HTTP client, because those are whichever are Angular HTTP calls you can access in network tab.
Yes.
These are we are directly calling it from
Advanced HTTP.
advanced. Those are like normal native API calls. So those native API calls you cannot see it. You can do it. There is a Stetho is there. There is one plugin is there, Stetho. Like in native world we use that. You can see all your network calls in those in that it will open up one window.
So we are going into an Android Studio and getting the network tabs from there.
Or else if you want to see only request and response in the debug build, I think in the job that we already have, I think in the Jenkins job we already have, we create one debug build. In that debug build, all the request and response is being printed.
Yeah, it is printed, that CSV request logger.
Yes, exactly, yes.
We have it.
In the console, all that is printed, not the network API.
Not in the, so it will print in the console. Okay, so that actually that we are doing it from SDK. We are intercepting all the requests and printing all the request response. That is actually for, I think we have built it for the implementation team in Diksha. Like if they, because if all the issues that will come, that will not directly come to us, to developers. That will come to suppose L2 team or someone will debug it and see what is the request response. They will first debug it, then it will directly come to the developers. Or else if we will directly do the like debugging, it will be difficult. So first they will do initial level of debugging, then they will come back to us. So you can use that debug build, or else you can only thing is that you will have to in the SDK you will have to link it and put like logs. No logs.
No.
Yeah, normal console logs.
Okay, native logs.
E or either you can that you can do it.
That thing. Okay.
That you can do it, or else in SDK also there is a where we are calling those APIs, you can do it.
And if we use normal HTTP client, I think it must be there. It will be there.
Because we are not
We are
using
not
those now.
using it.
Yeah. Okay, where was I?
Okay, I have got a basic question.
Yes.
Sorry, I was not really into this. Because I was
Yeah, sure.
So, how much of the the web code, or basically web platform code, is reused in the mobile platform?
Web code is being used in the form of all the components.
So all the backend is pretty much the same. In the UI, probably you're also using the form service configuration.
Yeah. No. So I will show you just a minute. Yeah. So these are the components that excluding this Sunbird Mobile SDK. These are the components which web uses, also we are using.
Okay.
So that is the common thing that that keeps a basic sanity that portal looks like similar to mobile app, kind of similar to mobile app. We are not like complete different that we will build different thing. You guys will build different things. There is a common thing like all the players, all the like styles, forms, ng components. All those are the common between, not between portal and mobile app, all other platforms also in any client.
Exactly. Yeah. Basically, when we said you don't really have to do 4x effort.
Yeah.
It's like 1.6x.
Yeah.
So that 0.6 is somewhere.
Yeah. Suppose like one feature is being built. Suppose because that common feature will be built in mobile app, also in portal.
Correct.
Because we both have like we'll have to build same feature.
Right.
So what we do, if that feature, that UI can be built in some UI component, so that we will consume it. So someone from like we will choose one member, we will build that specific library or component, which he will develop, and portal will consume it. Also mobile app will consume it.
Right.
So that our development time will reduce.
Of course. Right.
Yep. And also there is some similarity, or else we will build some different thing, they will build some different thing. So that's like we are wasting our time. Also we are wasting the functionality of it also. Okay, so I was showing the DB, sorry. Yeah, so I think you will see here, so this is the profile table. So in the profile table, the first entry you can see this is the guest one. So this is the guest user. So it has, if you see, there is no information in like, there is no standard, there is no language, nothing. So only basic information that you will choose during your onboarding, like medium, board, and all these things, profile type, grade, all these things. Those are like you have filled up during your onboarding. So these information will be there.
For this kind of thing, when in iOS basically we got an issue. Then when the user is a new man, he doesn't have app at all. So they are using registering with the same name, new username or email, sorry. That's a new user, completely new user. So they do the onboarding, they register themselves, then they come to the home page, go into the profile section. There they can't see that medium, board and grade selected. That was empty, but then they close it. Then
Again the pop-up comes up.
No, they open it, they remove it from the minimize also. They open it again after some time, and then they get it. what can be the issue there?
Might
It's
be-
not coming for everyone, but for some users. Some users are getting this.
Might be API is getting like delayed response.
But just for the first time. But when the same app, the same person, the same registration, they just close it and log in again, or maybe
Okay,
just
the
open the app again if they are getting it.
Because you can check, so there are multiple things you can check here. If this behavior is like persistent across all the users, then there is a genuine code issue that we can. So,
Not for
ha.
for everyone.
So if that is specific, so then I think you'll have to see that if whatever channel they are associated to it. So is it taking time to get the specific user information on the specific channel?
Because they will get the information from this table only, na? They
No.
Because
So-
that is stored
So
here.
that is one source. So that's what this is the guest user.
Yeah, this
Okay, this is guest user.
Yeah.
So once they log in,
that.
so another table will be created, because here you will see the handle name is different.
Yeah,
So handle means actually the name.
name of the user.
So the name here actually this is the user ID we are giving it. So this is we are keeping it for our local purpose, but actually we are saving it. The complete server response actually we are storing. So here you can see the source is server.
Server. Getting from API.
Yeah. So means this is getting from the API itself. So the response actually we are storing it in another.
So again a local DB for.
But actually that issue that you are saying, that actually we are fetching it from the API and showing it.
So you said you.
This, so that
you
is
are
not
getting
DB.
it from API.
So that from the API you might not be getting it.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah. So DB is only created once you get the response, then you create the DB. Because if you will not get the response, whatever it will get, that entry it will be there in the DB itself.
And there is no chance that the person has selected the board medium and all those things after during the login they are sending it all this. Right. So there is no condition that they skip it here only, they are not getting it, and the user is logged in successful. There is no condition like that.
No.
They will be successful only when all the information will be.
Yeah, that's what, because the board medium grade is mandatory.
Yeah.
That filling that board
The
medium
login
grade.
will never be successful.
Yeah.
without it.
Not login successful, because you cannot go ahead with it.
Yeah. Registration.
Yeah. Because once you log in,
Login page.
not failed, because you will have, once you open the app, once you log in, it will ask you BMG. Means board, it will ask for BMGS. Then only you can access the tabs,
Yes. Okay.
or else you cannot access it.
Of course.
Yep. Okay, so these are the tables that has been created.
Okay, for Google's captcha client ID also, that is also getting from that system setting API.
Yes,
That is also created in the Google console.
yes, same.
Right now.
Yes.
Because we are also not getting that where the client ID is coming.
I think someone with the specific whoever has created, they need to have that account details, or they might not have access. I'm not sure. That might be the issue.
Who created that account in the Google console?
That I think DevOps team can, because DevOps team usually handles all. We
They
just
must have credential also. They must
might have, because we tell them that we need these things, they give us all this stuff.
basically the knock.
Just a minute. Yes. We can go there now. Okay. Okay. Okay, so once I think we collect some basic information. So this is an guest user onboarding. So guest user onboarding means we collect framework details and user type and state, district, all these things, and then we onboard them and we directly land them in the we'll directly land them in the home page itself. So here this is the part where complete content discovery will happen. So here they can search the content, they can access the content and all these things.
Okay, so here the name of the app, it comes all again from the API.
Name of the app means
Diksha.
Sunbird. No, this is that configuration that I told you, no?
The Sunbird.properties.
It's there.
Because what was happening for content creator type credential, we were getting 8 step instead of Diksha.
Okay, that's in I think Splash plugin. In the Splash.
This is Splash plugin.
No, in the Splash you are seeing it,
In the
right?
Splash and in the app also, in the menu icon basically. Because Diksha, experience new user, and in the menu icon there's a name of Diksha. There we had
can
8
you-
step instead of it. Just for the
I think in the Splash we were showing it that
related user. which
yes,
is
that's it. We usually show that whatever organization is associated to it. So there it might show that I think Xtape might be the or I think whoever has created that organization, that name might be.
We are using the same for the same user, for the same state related user. When we logged in.
Yeah, app name I think. So it's not in the app in the menu drawer, right? In the mobile app.
There is app name, if you can see. There is app name. Top.
Where?
Yeah, Sunbird.
Okay. So here, yeah, same thing. I think the user that I think this is the basic.
Logo of Diksha and the Sunbird
Huh.
app. That's what
Yeah. So I think the reason might be it is the channel name, the channel actual tenant name. That user, I think the tenant is associated to specific. I think Xtape or specific things are there. I think you will have to check what is the tenant name for the specific user.
tenant name.
Tenant name.
Because that same user, when we are logging in the portal, that is completely fine, Diksha everywhere.
Huh.
But in the app only, it was Diksha. Just for the stable rate.
Huh. I think that is we are showing the tenant name there. I think this functionality has been removed in latest releases. We have removed that functionality. So we had in the splash screen also we are showing that.
I did actually in sign-in page just to overcome this issue. Or
Huh.
I did, that app name was coming from some storage. So what I did.
One preference, I think you are getting it.
Yeah. So what I did, I just commented that code and used the app version plugin we have. We used to have that
Huh.
app version where we can get
Yes.
the app version and name and all.
So you
use
utilize that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is what I did. But this is not a correct way to do.
Ideally,
It's not a,
the reason is because previously we used to have that functionality. We used to show the tenant name. Instead of the app name, we are actually showing the tenant name.
you would not believe that in just the menu icon you are using the app name from storage, but in the profile section everywhere it was completely fine, Diksha, because you were using app name from app version plugin.
Okay.
Yes.
I think somewhere we are getting from that storage, that shared preference we are getting
Just
it.
in the menu icon.
Yes,
Just
yes,
in
yes.
the menu. There were two places
Yeah.
and you were getting.
So actually that functionality, this functionality was supposed to show the tenant name.
In the switch to classic Sunbird experience and in the above.
Huh.
2 places and in the splash page as well. 3 places.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that we can, because in recent releases we have removed all these tenant things and all.
Tenant ID is responsible for it.
So you can, all the tenant related code has been removed from the R source code.
I'll check with the tenant ID.
Yeah. So once the user onboards, they will directly land in this home page. So here they can explore all the contents where I think they can see what kind of courses are there, what kind of textbooks are there. So there are multiple sections. You can see browse by category, browse contents by user type, browse by subjects, and some recently published courses. So this complete, that home page that you're seeing, this is completely configurable. So this is completely form driven. So suppose you want to remove this complete section, that you don't want this browse by subject. So from the form itself, you just remove that. I will show you the form. So this is config home v5 form. So the reason we are giving v5 is we are versioning it. So right now there is no version controlling of the forms. So as in portal, what we can do, every time someone pushes the latest release, everyone will get all the latest releases. But in mobile app, we don't have that luxury. So suppose we have pushed a new code. Suppose you will get the latest version, but I will not get the latest version. So if I will completely update the form, because I have the older code and I have the newer form version, then there is some issue will be there. So that's why whenever there is some change in the form, the API response, we usually change in the subtype and upload that form. So here you can see, so suppose there is a section called browse contents by user type. Or browse by category, you can see it. So here same thing we are maintaining it. So you can see in the title, this is a translated title, whatever you can add your languages and all. So browse by category, and the description you can add it.
The data is coming from which is it?
Yeah, form API only.
Form API.
Yeah. So this is the title, description and all these things, and whatever request, because we will be hitting the search API to get all those results, and the request we have mentioned it here. So this will be the request. So with this request we hit the form the search API, and we will show it here. So whenever someone will click in this course, so it will be like that search API will be hitting with that specific request that we are giving in the form. So suppose someone wants to change it, so you don't want to show courses, you want to show some XYZ content types. So you just update the form, it will change instantly.
The icon itself is also coming from there.
Yeah, so here if you will see, we are giving themes. No, icons actually, if you will see, here you can see this themes we are giving it. We are not giving specific, you can see this all content icon is there. So the problem is that you will have to, that icon should be present in the specific package in the app, or else it will not show up. So we are giving the themes, so SB Pills Grid, so this is from the common code consumption. Suppose you don't want to use some specific card, you want to use some another card. So you just change it in the this theme object itself. So it will utilize a specific component itself.
That component SB Pills Grid, that is coming from common consumption, that is for icons. And when we need to add icons, we need to have to place that icon there, which is fast.
Okay, so I think similarly we have multiple sections. It will say another section is browse by audience. Sorry, browse by subject is there. Okay, browse by subject is there. Similarly, you will have to put on whatever the request is there. Just put it in the search request. You will have to put it in the data source, and you will that whenever you click on that, you will hit with that specific search request. So here this complete home page is configurable. So here you can directly discover the content. So this complete page is being filtered on the basis of whatever frameworks, whatever user types that you have selected. So completely filtered. So what suppose you have selected state Tamil Nadu and English medium and some class 1. So all the contents will only show based upon those frameworks. It will not show other frameworks itself. It will only show because this is a completely personalized section itself. Okay, so apart from that, I think we have content discovery as an anonymous user. So once you land on the home page, you will directly consume the content. And for the logged in user, so similarly, once you log in means after key clock, once you do a key clock login. So after the key clock login itself, you will be will be prompted with some taxonomy details that you want. So using those taxonomy details, so you will be getting all the contents here. So the page will be same, but all the details filters will be applied different. So because during the login itself, you have created some your board, specific board or specific medium and all. So you have all the contents will be filtered here, and this complete page is completely dynamic. Anytime suppose Suppose some product manager wants to delete three sections. They can just update the form and just update this complete home page itself. Yep. So this is the basic workflow. Like what is the difference between guest user flow and logged in user flow? So there is no basic difference is how the filters has been getting applied. Okay. This is guest user. So now we will, I think, move to how online and offline consumption will happen. So basically, if you will see, there are two modes. So first is how we are consuming contents in offline, how we are consuming contents in online, and how we are accessing the response. That I told you that we have pre-packaging some of the responses. While uploading the APK, we are pre-packaging some of the form responses, system settings, frameworks, all the responses, we are pre-packaging it so that our onboarding process is smooth. So that pre-packaging has already happened. So we will now see how the content play is happening. So suppose you are offline and you want to play some content. So how you will play it, how you will consume those contents. So suppose this is a textbook where you are directly consuming this content. So this is the content you are trying to consume. So suppose you want to consume it offline. So first thing you will have to do is you will have to download that specific content. So I already told that content player is completely generic. So whatever data that will send, it will just interpret, nothing else. So here, right now, if you will see this delete button, means the content is already downloaded. Okay, so it's already downloaded means it can be consumed offline. So right now, if I will try to play the content, it will not play. So suppose contents like PDF or EPUB or video, if you are trying to play that, if that content is not downloaded, you cannot play it offline. So the reason is during while sending the configuration, we are sending some information to the player. So one of the key information is the streaming URL. So online thing, so it will read that streaming URL and just play it. But if you are offline, you cannot play that streaming URL itself. So to overcome that, suppose you will download it. So what it will happen? Just a minute. Okay, so once we download that content, what will happen? So how the extraction happens, I will anyhow talk in the SDK session. So once you download the specific content itself, so one eCar file will be downloaded. So eCar means actually the full form of that term is extract content archive. So this is the extension which all the platform recognizes. Only ideally mainly desktop app and mobile app, whoever are utilizing the offline consumption, they only understand how to consume the eCar file, because portal is not consuming the eCar files. Portal is only using the streaming URL, directly playing it. But eCar is only consumed by mobile app and desktop because they support the offline consumption. So the eCar file, the structure of the eCar file, so this is a basic zip file, nothing but a basic zip file. So you can just, if you want to explore what is there in the eCar file and you want to get that eCar file, so you might be aware of the read API. So you just put your DID, this is the basic content read API, put your do ID, you will get one download URL. So you'll have to just download it. Okay. So similarly, I have downloaded one video content. Okay. So So I have just renamed it to zip instead of .ecar. I just renamed it to zip. So once we extract it, you will find something like this: one folder with the naming like what is the do ID and the manifest.json. So manifest.json contains the complete metadata of the specific content. If you will see, it contains the specific all the information, all the metadata. So whatever in the read API response you are getting, you will get all the information here. Okay. And after that you will see this folder. So this is the actual folder where the actual MP4 is available, and this is another image is there, which is the app icon. Okay. Similarly, if you have a like PDF or EPUB, so one PDF file will be there and one app icon will be there image. So in online case, we are sending the streaming URL, but during the offline case, whatever we have extracted, we just give this location. Wherever that file location is, we just send this location. And because as I already told that player is completely like generic, it will not, it will just, if it is a streaming URL, it will just play it, or else if it is a local URL, because local means it is stored in the device. While downloading it, we actually extract it and store it in our device. Okay. And then I think I will show the location of it.
For downloading this, you have used the normal file download, right?
Yeah, the download manager plugin that I told you, that one of our plugins.
Yes.
Normal download.
So it accepts the ecar extension.
So actually ecar is nothing but that's a zip file. So we are just changing the MIME type is zip. We are just
MIME
changing
type
the extension to ecar.
Okay, mine happy.
Yeah. So if we'll see, so you can see in the Android data folder, which I already told you cannot access in your actual devices. So in emulator you can access it. So this is the private space of the app. So you can see this is your package name. Can you guys see it? I'm not sure. I cannot zoom it though. So once that content is downloaded, so a separate folders will be created. Like so whatever is the do ID, so it will one folder will be created. So in that folder, whatever content that it has, we just store in there. Right now it has only
Inside the content folder, not in the download folder.
no inside the content folder. Download is for other purpose, certificates and some all these things. Because this is the private space, we can manage, we can do whatever we want to do it, put it in that folder. So for content, we have created a specific content folder. So here all the content, whatever content you are downloading, it will be downloaded here itself.
PDF or anything.
Everything, all contents.
So all the extension will be in ecar format.
Yeah, all extension ecar.
PDF
Because whatever content we are consuming, all the formats are ecar. Okay, so instead of streaming URL for offline use cases, मैंने ये zoom नहीं हो रहा है. Okay, so instead of the streaming URL, we will be sending this actual file location.
Lock कर देगा.
ನಾವು ಇದು ಲಾಕ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
I have 5 minutes job. Hey, group.
Okay, so this is offline and online content consumption. So we will see how telemetry is generated. So as I told, telemetry is kind of completely necessary for our application. Like how you want to, if you want to see how the user is using the app. So we are, so in all the places, so in all the pages, so in all the pages, so whenever suppose you are entering into a page and you are exiting from a page and you are doing some actions in the page, all the all the actions has been registered in the telemetry. So whenever you will enter into the page, so I am showing it. So this method has been called in the ng on unit. Once we enter into the page, so we are considering workflows. So suppose content consumption is one workflow. So you enter the app, do some activity, click on play, play the content, then come back, then you exit from the content itself. So this is a complete workflow. So for each workflow, for each workflow action, we are generating one event. So one example that is showing, this is, you can see one start event we are generating. So once the user enters to the page, specific page, we generate the start event. And start events, it will contain, so we have expose one service like generate start telemetry. So where I think telemetry thing, Rajiv, I think telemetry we have given some idea, or how is it? I think that will be in the
SDKs, no, telemetry we don't have to, because that what is it? Data team will
Data
be
team.
talking about the telemetry.
Okay.
And
So so we have a defined set of structure like one JSON object which the observer team understands. The specific structure is there. Okay, one JSON file is there which so that we are calling it as telemetry, which we are generating it.
So do we have to start telemetry every time we are?
So that is not compulsory, because whenever you can obviously remove it, but this is for mainly usage purpose. Suppose you want to, suppose your data team might be there, they want to see how many users have visited this content. So they will just see how many start events are there for one unique.
Only one function is the start for every event we are doing.
Start means actually you can generate anything, because there are some start event, there is some actually impression events is there, which is like for viewing. So once you visit a page, that is one impression event. So the start event is there for workflow. So I told you one workflow, like you enter the page, do some actions, play the content, then one flow, then you exit the page. So that is a one workflow end is there. So so once you enter the workflow, start event is generated, you complete the workflow, at the end of it generate an end event. So that complete inside start and end, multiple actions will be there, like what the user did during their start and end. It can be 1 lakh telemetry events.
And I'm assuming that for the onboarding process, login process,
There will be telemetry events. So there are start and end events. So they are like click events. You are clicking something, you are clicking next, you are clicking submit. Everything, all the events are like, yes. So you can get there some group events are there. Like you want to group like some data. This is mainly useful for, I think, for our debugging purpose, also for, I think, whoever wants to analyze the data. That will be more useful for them. So this is start telemetry, and I think another end once we are exiting the page. So we are there is one end telemetry also, end telemetry is also generated. So I will also tell how this will be helpful while consuming a course. I'll tell you in the SDK how we are tracking the progress based on the start and event. That's why I'm just giving one overview that when it is generated. So this I am showing this content details page. Also this, if you will see, I will show you. So this is general course details page. This is for course consumption, course TOC page. So here also you will find generate start event. So here you just generate, once you enter the page, you generate start, and while you exit, you generate the end event. So based upon that, you can see there is some page ID. So to identify that which page it is, there is some page ID and what kind of environment is there, what is the content ID, all this information we send in that specific packet. So every time once you enter, just open that page, we just attach all this information and just send it. Okay, so this is the basic how we generate the telemetry. So if you will explore all the modules, you will see lots of, because I think there are more than 400 or 500 telemetry events we are generating. So you can explore it and see in which all places we are generating, how it will be helpful for the whoever managing the data. So that will be helpful for them. Also while debugging, also I told you that scenario that if a user is facing issue while in some use case they are failing to use that specific feature. So you can observe that in some after that you are not getting telemetry. So you will get to know that that specific case he is failing.
So the process of telemetry, how the telemetry is communicating with this database or server.
So that I will tell you in the SDK. SDK. Yep. I think Rajiv, I think we'll have to move to another room, right?
Yeah.
So this is, I think, part of the whatever mobile app flow, and the next session I think we'll do the SDK.
Okay, so I do have some questions regarding iOS setup. So we will cover it.
Means after the once we have a session, we'll.
Yep.
Yep.
Setup issues.
Yeah.
As I have M2 chips, so it is not sitting properly.
Okay, mine also, because I haven't set it up because some other guy did it.
I'm
So
getting some issues, the build issues, and there I have you do the architecture setup, ARM64, these kind of things.
okay, it's not loading.
It's not good.
I think it will be better if we'll put up in a discussion forum. I think I will directly assign one person who will work with you directly.
Okay, sure, that we
Yeah.
can do.
So whoever actually that lady here did it, the
So
complete
that's
configuration.
the problem which you face.
Because the region is this M2 architecture.
Okay, okay.
You will have to install some extra things and all this stuff. So I think,
Pods also only we are getting it. Pods.
yeah.
We'll move. Yeah.
Yep. So I think there we'll start with SDK.
SDK, yeah. I mean, there we will start with SDK. Half an hour more, right? एक घंटा? Half an hour. कितना है?
Okay. Yeah, I think I have two more sessions.
कितना time चाहिए आपको?
हाँ. Okay, yep, sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay, sure. Okay.